Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Serena.
And we are with Running Ever After. Now join us this week as we have news from the running community.
And theories on what characters will show up for Wine Dine, as well as costume ideas.
We have just returned from the Disneyland Half Marathon weekend, and boy did we have a good time.
Yes.
Now, fortunately, we have some very sad news. This will be the last Disneyland race for the foreseeable future.
It is being put on hold because of the new construction that they're going to be starting on the main entrance, but the construction is planned to conclude on 2028, so hopefully that will be the soonest that we can get the races back up.
And I don't know about you, but I am looking forward to the Halloween races being restored. Now that brings us to our next bit of news. Dollywood has released their medals for the new Dollywood race series.
They are pretty big, actually, about the size of what the Run Disney medals have started being, where they're about the size of your hand, featuring the butterfly on the Dollywood logo, which is also part of the logo for the Run Dollywood series.
Now, the one thing we don't know is they've only released one picture for a medal, so we do not know if it is the same medal for the 5K, the 10K, and the half, or if they're only showing us one medal and they're each going to be a slightly different version. So, on to Wine Dine. Now, as many of you know, if you watched our videos, Wine Dine has released the themes for the next race series.
Now, the 5K is going to take place in France with the 3 kittens from the Aristocats. The 10K is going to be in Mexico with the 3 caballeros. The half is going to be in Britain with the penguins from Mary Poppins. And the 2-course challenge is going to be in Germany with one of the 7 dwarves, Grumpy.
So that leads us to a little bit of speculation on what characters we might see. So today we're going to talk about characters for the 5K, which is the Aristocats.
Yes.
One of the things that we are hoping is that we are actually going to see characters from the Aristocats movie itself.
So, starting off, a pretty popular one is going to be the main villain, Edgar Balthazar.
Now, I think not only would he be fun to see on the course, but his motorcycle as a prop to take photos with.
Now, of course, are going to have the main kittens themselves, Marie, Toulouse, and Burlois, as well as their mother, Duchess, and potentially even her new beau, Thomas O'Malley.
Now, a few of the side characters that we meet along the way might be really fun. Now, we have the 2 geese,
Abigail and Amelia, as well as their Uncle Waldo, who gets basted in wine.
And a really fun one could be the Scat Cats.
Oh, definitely. That would make a fun cutout. It would make for a fun character interaction. They can go a lot of different ways with that one.
Now, not only could it be characters that are in the Aristocats, but we got to thinking, and Aristocats takes place in France. So what other characters are in France?
And of course, the #1 movie that you think of when you think of Disney French movies is going to be Ratatouille, especially with this being in Epcot with the Ratatouille ride. So Remy and his brother are most definitely gonna show up.
Now, we couldn't think of any other movies that take place in France, but please, if you can think of one, leave it in the comments and let us know. Now, the other idea that we had would be other characters that have a variety of animals that take place in the movie,
especially with focus on cats.
Yes.
One of the ones I was thinking of right off the bat would be movies like Robin Hood and Zootopia, which have a very wide variety, and I know Robin Hood and Judy and Nick are very popular characters to show up on the Run Disney runs.
Now, what I thought of would actually be Oliver and Company, because you still have a cat as the main character for that.
Definitely, and some other kitties would be Lucifer from Cinderella, potentially with his mistress, Lady Tremaine, or even the Cheshire Cat would be a fun one. from Alice in Wonderland.
Now, of course, you cannot forget the Jungle Book, which again has a variety of animals in it, and especially some big cats.
Like Shere Khan, and of course, speaking of tigers, we also have Jasmine's friend Raja, or we could even go to the savannah with Lion King.
That also has quite the animal cast. So another route that we actually thought character might go, or would actually make a great costume to do this race, would also be, if you hadn't noticed, all of the races come in triplets. So we took a moment and thought about triplets
or groups of 3 that we thought you might be interested in doing a costume for. There are plenty out there.
Starting with probably the most famous set of triplets, Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Now, if you want some triplets that are maybe lesser known, we have the Bimbettes, the names of the triplets from Beauty and the Beast, the girls who will absolutely adore Gaston. They would be particularly fun.
Now, if you have done one of the Halloween races, you also will remember the Sanderson sisters. Now, those are a set of 3 witches that just make any race so much fun. And since it was recently a theme, then you probably have the costume for it.
Another popular one that could actually be turned from either 3 to as many as you need would be the Little Green Men from Toy Story, and that is a nice simple one to do.
Also, going back to Halloween, we also have Lock, Shock, and Barrel from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Now, for going back to Lion King, we have Shenzi, Bonsai, and Ed, the 3 hyenas from that movie.
Now, if you want to get a little pixie dust going, we also have the fairy godmothers from Sleeping Beauty. We have Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather.
Of course, there are also the 3 caballeros, which was going to be the theme for the 10K.
And of course, if you have a group of 3 gentlemen, you could always go as Harris, Hubert, and Hamish, who, if you know, are the little brothers from Brave. And of course, that just opens you up for a little mischief along the run.
Yes, with that one, you could go as them, having mischief in their barrels full of cookies, or you could go as bears. That would also be fun.
That would be fun.
Now, next up is going to be the hitchhiking ghost, and this is another one that you can do as a group of 3, or you can branch it out into a bigger costume by putting in the other ghosts, and I know that is one a lot of people like to do.
If you're going with a group that has many different ages, a really fun set of triplets is actually the step family from Cinderella. Now you have Lady Tremaine, but you also have the step sisters, Anastasia and Drizella.
And finally, we are going to end with Yao, Lin, and Qian Po, the 3 military men that Mulan becomes friends with in her movie.
Now, if any of those costume ideas sound fun to you, let us know. And if you need more ideas, we'll keep watching because next week we're gonna go over different ideas for the 10K.
Now, make sure to like and subscribe.
And as always, I am Lisa.
And I'm Serena.
And we are with Running Ever After.